Story 1. From the wiki page of Futurama, the writing staff held 3 Doctor of Philosophy degrees, 7 master's degrees, and cumulatively had more than 50 years at Harvard University. Series writer Patrick M. Veroni stated, "We were easily the most overeducated cartoon writers in history. I don't think people realize how intelligent the writing room for that show was. Ken Keeler came up with a mathematic theorem called Keeler's theorem to resolve the conflict of the episode, The Prisoner of Benda. For a dumb sci-fi show, there was some serious brain power behind it." Story 2, Charo. Her whole dumb blonde coochie shtick was something she developed when she was 7, when she realized she could make the grown-ups laugh that way. Coochie was the name of the family dog. I saw her interviewed once. She was actually quite intelligent and well-spoken. She gave up show business when she realized her young son needed a better place than Las Vegas to grow up in. Story 3, Rowan Atkinson, known as Mr. Bean, has a master's degree in electrical engineering. And I'm going to show my age, but George the Animal Steel also had a master's degree in science before becoming a professional wrestler. Story 4. The rapper Chamillionaire and his famous song Ridin' Dirty. Apparently, his plan was to take the music money and invest it. He became a big tech investor and helped other rappers not get screwed by the music industry. Story 5. Boris Johnson. And I don't mean that in a good way. His appearance as some idiotic buffoon has always been very well orchestrated. That person knows exactly what he's been doing. Story 6. People always credit all of Ozzy's success to other people. First the other members of Black Sabbath and then Sharon later on. A big part of his success has been his ability to scout out successful musicians like Randy Rhoads and read the evolving entertainment industry landscape. He comes off as an idiot largely because of his drug issues and his heavy Birmingham accent. However, if you actually listen to him talk, he is very witty and has a self-deprecating sense of humor, which I think comes off to a lot of people as him being an idiot. I think he is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. Story 7. Hedy Lamarr co-invented a radio guidance system for Allied torpedoes that used spread spectrum and frequency hopping technology to defeat the threat of radio jamming by the Axis powers. Story 8. Kesha, her dumb party girl act was initially put on because that's what sells, and she was smart enough to play the game for the long haul. Unfortunately, her manager really messed her up. Story 9. Duff McKagan, the Guns N' Roses bassist, had a reputation for being a Hellraiser party boy who wasn't expected to survive the 1990s, let alone come out as well as he did. He got clean and sober, became a wealth management mastermind, is a published author, and obtained a business degree. Story 10. Marilyn Monroe was a well-spoken and intellectually curious bookworm. She owned hundreds of titles about the natural sciences, religion, and fiction. She also started her own production company. The fact that she's the symbol of a dumb blonde tells us that she played Lorelei a bit too well. Story 11. The Iceman, Chuck Liddell, is a famous mixed martial arts fighter for the Ultimate Fighting Championship who sports many tattoos and a mohawk. He's not viewed in the best light, but the dude graduated with honors in accounting at California Polytechnic State University while wrestling for the school as well. Story 12. People with American Southern accents. I know guys with PhDs who sound like they just crawled out of a log cabin in the hollow. They are smart as anything, but they don't sound like it. Story 13. Honestly, Paris Hilton. Everyone thought she was just this ditzy blonde, but she is a whole businesswoman who played the role people wanted her to. She is way smarter than people give her credit for. Story 14. Jimmy Carter. He helped prevent an atomic catastrophe as an engineer, and it was rumored his urine glowed afterward. His perceived fault as president was being a humanitarian, and he went on to start Habitat for Humanity. Story 15. Paris Hilton allegedly developed the superficial airhead persona as a coping mechanism following sexual abuse at a troubled teen facility, and is in fact quite savvy. Story 16. Pretty much every Midwestern farmer I've ever met. Those guys may not have gone to college, but they have more common sense in one finger than I'll ever have. Don't let the corn-fed, aw shucks exterior fool you. Those guys are sharp. Story 17. Bill Burr's plain-spoken everyman persona fools a lot of people into thinking he's someone he's not. The guy is a kick-ass drummer who went to a prestigious performing arts school, flies helicopters for fun, and is about as quick-witted and creative as they come. Story 18. Shaquille O'Neal. That individual has made some amazing investment choices and is earning money hand over fist by doing commercials. The act of appearing unintelligent is just that, an act. Story 19. Dolly Parton. I was genuinely surprised by people who aren't her fans being genuinely surprised that she's not an idiot. She plays a slightly airhead character, but she's never acted stupid. It's almost always based on her appearance alone, though. Story 20. Mike Judge probably got judged, no pun intended, especially when Beavis and Butthead first aired. But not only is that show and his other works more clever than they appear on the surface, so is he. The dude graduated from the University of California with a degree in physics and worked in physics and mechanical engineering before finding his passion and breaking into animation. Story 21. Mira Sorvino. Sorvino excelled in high school and was accepted into Harvard University. She studied for 1 year as an exchange student with the Council on International Educational Exchange in Nanjing, China, where she learned Mandarin Chinese. In 1989, she graduated from Harvard magna cum laude with a degree in East Asian Studies. She also helped found the Harvard Radcliffe Baritones, one of Harvard's co-ed a cappella groups, in 1985. Story 22. Sylvester Stallone might seem unintelligent to some, but he wrote the Oscar-winning films Rocky and Rocky II, and starred in them as well. He chose to focus on acting rather than writing afterward because, evidently, he found acting to be easier. Story 23. Sylvester Stallone. That voice and accent might make him sound like a dummy, but dummies don't write Oscar-nominated scripts and don't produce consistently blockbuster movies. Story 24. Probably most people think others are not smart, especially those they don't know well. I've had an off day and said or done something silly in public in front of strangers. As far as I know, I'm considered not very smart in their eyes for all eternity after that. Story 25. Terry Bradshaw, the man, was called dumb all his life because of his rural Southern accent, but he was smart enough to play quarterback in the NFL and call all his own plays. Despite his famous quip, "It's football, not rocket science," playing quarterback is really mentally challenging. That's not even mentioning the horse breeding empire he built up after he retired. Story 26. For the National Football League fans here, Rob Gronkowski. For those unfamiliar, his entire brand out of college was Goofy Frat Brother, and he kind of ended up having to lean into that for his endorsements. Yeah, he still likes to party, drink, etc., but not really any more so than anyone else in the National Football League. I'm in an overlapping social circle with him, so I've met him 15 or so times, and the dude is such a nice and intelligent guy. He genuinely looks so bummed out when he's talking about putting on the act for people, events, endorsements. Story 27. David Beckham. Popular opinion was that he was just a handsome face with very little going on under the surface. He just played to his strengths. And as a result, he's an astute businessman who built an empire. Story 28. Most politicians, when you think of them and their actions in the context of being single-minded seekers of re-election, their actions make a lot more sense.